and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Off Script, coming to you live from the studios of Lagos Television. I am Adetola Coyote. Off Script is a program designed having you in mind just to have the opportunity to have your say on various issues happening around us, be it political, religious, spiritual, moral, and especially social issues. Just to have your say. And it's been going on for a while. This issues that we most of the time give silent treatment to. We hope to talk about them all on this show. It will hopefully, let you have your say and give you the power, to I make you understand that you have the power to change lives, the power to have another perspective, to have another angle, a different perspective to things happening just around us. It will interest you to also know that it is a platform, the melting pot for traditional and social media. At this point in time, I'll let you know that you can also connect with us on Facebook, Offscript on LTV, Offscript LTV, follow us on Twitter, Offscript LTV, on Instagram, Offscript on LTV, and of course, LTV Social is also there. Hashtag Offscript LTV. Join us. I am Adetola Coyote. Let's take this short break, and we'll be right back. We thank you for staying tuned. Today on the program, we'll be discussing a touchy issue. Although it's not a favorite topic that most people want to talk about, we're talking rape today and all the issues surrounding rape on the program. It is an important one, especially for those who have the power to change narratives. Issues of rape are often not talked about. They're avoided, and we only pick them anytime they confront us. And when it happens, we'll talk about it, we'll drop it. But let's see this, and we'll be right back. We thank you for staying tuned. I'm not alone in the studio today. I have two people in the house today, one gentleman and one gentle lady. All right, I have Roy Ohidebe, who is a social commentator and of course a security aspect. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I also have Mayowa Akinpeloye. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, rape is a sexual assault that involves sexual penetration committed by a perpetrator against the victim without their consent. Also, we would like to tell you that 11% of rape perpetrators use a weapon. They use 6% use guns, 4% of them use knife, and 1% use other weapons. 90% of incidents of rape are perpetrated by one offender. 10 incidents of rape are perpetrated by two or more offenders, and 90% of women are raped experience symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, that's PTSD, during the 2 weeks of rape. Okay, taking all of these statistics, of course, it's courtesy RAIN, that's the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. Thank you for that statistics. Okay, what actually brought about this topic is a Facebook post that came up online on social media about somebody who said he was going to teach people how to rape, and it generated a whole lot of conversations on social media. And he says, well, for the guys that are interested before you rape, make sure you punch her neck first so she can be unconscious. It will be easy to get into her pants, and I'm posting this out of experience. You can imagine somebody doing that on social media. It is so disheartening. Can I quickly get your reaction to that?
Well, he can only do that on social media when, in the first place, he's using a fake picture or he's using a fake name. Because if he's actually the right person having that account, then you should be rest assured that he will be arrested. Why I say he will be arrested is that our policing in Nigeria now has gone to the extent when they have gone techie. And so many media organizations, so many NGOs, pressure groups are against rape. So the police need somebody with evidence and somebody pushing for prosecution. So once they have that, then they will go after this guy, and I'm sure they can be rest assured that very soon. Think about some other cases that have been coming up, where even the one that a lady was posted, gone viral, that was assaulting a child, she has been arrested. So once that have gone viral, the guy will be arrested.
You said maybe the picture is fake, but some people are so brazen. They talk about doing this to women, doing this to even children.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to this as a woman?
Most of the rapists are not this bold to talk out because nobody wants to be caught in the act. So they keep to themselves. I would not say totally that this person is not a rapist, but I want to say that he has some elements or attributes that could make him a rapist in the real sense of it.
Okay, for a lot of people, people will say, okay, when it comes to rape, it's at what point do you say that, okay, no is no? At what point should a man understand that no is no?
Well, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a security practitioner. In security, we know about policy, laws, and violation. Now, when there is no consent is actually can be a feigned consent, where people now say she's just saying no, but she really needs me, she's just saying no. If she's saying no, then you stop. Then you confirm that you have a yes. If she's your wife, you must also confirm you have a yes. If she's not your wife and both of you are adults and you have that approval within your moral acceptance level that, okay, we want to go into sexual relationship, once there is a no, there is no consent. Any other thing you do from there, you have committed a crime.
Okay, for actions to be taken against such people, what do you think should be done, especially for younger ladies and even adults?
What I saw, just like we were discussing before we entered the studio with Mr. Roy, he said, and I want to agree with him, exposure is the only treatment, that's the only cure, that's the only way we can curb rape. Once we can talk about it, once you can speak about, once you can come out to say, you can talk to the world about it, whatever you challenge with as regards rape, then you've overcome that particular challenge. But once you keep it to yourself, the rapists still have that power over you. But once you voice out, you tell the world about the incident, no going back. That person is on spot for that case.
Okay, we'll talk about how to get to that very point, but first we'll take this report and we'll be right back.
For sex to happen, it has to involve two people. But then when one person is not in consent with that, and then the other one forcefully does that against his or her will, then that's rape.
The penalty should be dead, because it's so annoying when you can hear a man of 70 years old raping a baby of 7, 8 years is uncalled for. I think it's a very bad situation.
The dress code of our young girls could attract the opposite sex to them. And if they make overture and they don't respond to them, they may be forced to do the otherwise. That's go a long way to rape them.
I don't subscribe to the fact that they say maybe it's because of the way a woman dresses. I don't entirely agree with that.
Forget this, no work. What did they worry you? You know, rape this girl. You don't mind? I said we could rape this girl, this.
Rape is a sexual assault that involves sexual intercourse or any other forms of sexual penetration committed by a perpetrator against a victim without their consent. For this act to be perceived as rape, it must have been carried by force, coercion, abuse of authority, or against a person who is incapable of giving valid consent. This barbaric act had refused to exit our system as there are reoccurring acts, even cases of fathers having carnal knowledge of their daughters. But how did we get here?
We have lost contact with God, who is the source of joy. When people lose their value, because it is only God that can place a value and that makes us to reason like we need to reason, like a human being. But when people lose their sanity of mind, which is which is by believing in the instructions of the Word of God, he begins to live for the devil. And it is the devil that can put into the minds of anybody to live and to engage in rape.
Honestly, there might be so many reasons for that. Because when you look at when there is no fear of God, anything can happen. Because that's the number one reason. Number two things is probably maybe the way people, the way they see women dressing and things like that. I think you get me, because men are more attractive to physical things than women.
There is no punishment, no major punishment or for rape offenders in this country. I don't think so. So I think it just happens and nobody does anything about it. We just talk about it and that's all.
While the act of rape is usually perpetrated by the male folks towards the female gender, do the male gender also get raped?
I've seen one or two in our movies. I've heard about one or two. But I want to believe that it is just an excess that the women want to carry out to get back at maybe something that happened to them in the past.
It's not only women that are being raped. Guys are also being raped in a way. But it's just that when guys are raped, people say it's all about seduction and not rape. But when it is a guy to a lady, they call it rape. So it goes both ways. But people don't come out. Guys may not really come out to say it because they will say that the girl did not actually rape him. It just they will say the girl seduced him.
The Nigerian judicial system had over time proven to have made the process of finding justice rigid for the few survivors who are willing to speak. As such, survivors are made to suffer in silence. How do we get out of this menace?
We should start teaching our younger ones, our kids, right from their nursery schools and primary schools, what it means to respect the individual. Like, for instance, some people go out to say that you don't raise your hand on a woman. Personally, I hate that language. I prefer to say you don't raise your hand on your fellow human being, irrespective of the gender or sex. So the first thing should be, we should be able to teach our kids in their young age that they should respect each other. Then another thing is that if anybody is caught in the act of rape and the person is found guilty, we should try as much as possible to get that person to face the law and the consequences that should follow.
Should rape survivors keep silent?
Society, when a girl comes out to say, oh, I have been raped, then she will be the discrimination comes, the stigmatization comes in. You get, they start looking down on her, then the shame and all of that associated with it. So instead of maybe someone who has been raped to face that stigmatization, she would rather keep quiet. She won't come forward because of the way the society would perceive her. So I think that's the major reason why.
Okay, thank you for joining us. That's a feature we had on rape, and went to town to ask people what they feel about the situation. And I heard somebody talking about the devil, the devil, the devil. The devil have that much power, to push people into, or people
No,
into.
no, the devil has vices. Okay, let me look at it from the man perspective now. Now, if there is an situation where I get intoxicated, either by alcohol or by any drug inducement, then I am not in my right senses. And if I am in the presence of a lady or women, there is this tendency that I may get overboard because I am not in control, especially with the terms of appearance, the dress code. If it's a party, a night party, okay? So you will now see that later when the man gets himself, when the inducement wears out, he will now begin to cry. He will now begin to whine. He will now begin to, some that are already hardened will now take a strong stance.
But they usually say that a drunk person usually goes to do anything that is already on his mind or her mind.
No, no. When you are intoxicated, your environment might cause you to do certain things that you are not usually used to. If you see, there are cases of first offenders. That's why we advise people, if you are in a night party, okay, and you see that it's getting out of hand, you can excuse yourself. Ladies should learn to excuse themselves, especially when you notice that some people are leaving the party. Then when you see that you as a man, especially when you are taking Indian hemp or you have taken any inducement and you are alone with a lady in the house, okay, that is for one. Then there is the angle of constant appraisal of the lady. Maybe she's like a house help, maybe she's like a neighbor, okay, and you have been observing this person and you have been having this intuition that, oh, I want to have something with her. Then casually, unknown to the lady, she becomes friendly with you. She's just like, oh, good morning, sir, or something. And you begin to see that you are exceeding normal familiarity, okay? And you will now try to get her alone in a place, maybe her house, your house. And when you now get there, I'm talking to men now, you now make an approach. Once she refuses, that is where your maturity will now count.
Okay.
You will now see either she refuses, the person gets offended and say, what the hell? Why are you so decent? Have you not been chatting with me? Have you, Or another thing you should look at is escape. Like we were speaking outside there. Once the man knows that he can do that and get away, any rapist that you see that does not care, that goes brutal, maybe with arms, leave wounds and all of that, he believes that he will escape. Maybe it's an armed robber, maybe it's an assailant that just catches a girl on a lone street, So, but when they don't know that they can escape, they try to reduce the violence to a very large extent.
All right, Mayo has an experience she wants to share with us. What happened actually?
Yes, at the age of 16, I met this guy. Okay, we schooled together. It was actually my classmate. And he asked me out. He wanted to date me. I was not really sure. I was like, I don't want to date. I just want to be on my own, keeping myself and stuff like that. And after a while, we graduated from secondary school. We left school and we both attended a lesson close to his house, close to my late dad's office. So one day I noticed he was not in class that particular day. I was like, okay, let me check on this guy. He was not in class today. So I went alone, just myself. I just went there. So I saw him. Oh, Yinka, why didn't you come for lectures today? He was like, oh, he's not feeling too fine. That he's even reading upstairs, that we should go upstairs together. So we went upstairs together. And when we got there, before I could say anything, just like that guy said, you have to punch at the neck and stuff. So he just punched me. And the next thing I saw blood You know, I was like shouting, is this the way you want to do? Is this the way you want to go about this love, you know? And before I could see anything, I met him kneeling down for me, begging and stuff like that. I said, it's over. I cannot even date you. You're not normal. So I ran out of the place. I packed myself. I did everything to cover up because I didn't want my dad to hear. And my mom being a very strict woman, I was like, I was not going to tell anybody. So I left after 2 years. I met him again in Ado. So when I met him, the anger came back to me live, like I should stab. And he knelt again. He was like, please, I'm sorry for what happened. Can you please forgive me? I was like, I've forgiven you, but I don't want to have anything to do with you again. People around didn't know what was going on because I couldn't really talk about it, but I just had to calm that particular thing. And that thing in me just told me that I should just forgive him. So I called him. I said, Yinka, I've forgiven you. You can go. 2 months after he died.
Wow.
So my own case, I just kept the story with me, the pains with me, everything I kept with me. So after many years, it was after many years of hearing of diverse cases, I just thought that this experience is not actually for me to keep. It's actually for me to help another person, not to go through the same story. So when I see anybody coming around me, a young girl, I tell them, this is the thing you need to do. This is how you need to do, not to attract unnecessary relationships around you, because we can actually help ourselves. Women can actually help themselves.
For a lot of people who go through all of these things have they have this kind of pressure. They don't know how to deal with it, and it affects them. They have this post-traumatic stress. For you, what would you tell somebody who's going through or who went through all of this and still can't deal with it?
Yeah, my sincere advice is that find a confidence to share with. You can never miss it when you share it. Once you share it once, at least you're 90%, let me say you're 75% healed. So by the time you get proper counsel, if it has to do with traumatic measures, they have to take you through hospital, mental clinic or stuff like that. They will take you through that session and you'll be fine. But you just have to speak up. If you keep it to yourself, you'll be hurting yourself the more. But if you go through that process of confiding in someone, having a confidence, you look for somebody, it could be your pastor, it could be a sister, but just not somebody that will be careless with your story. Your story is better with you. You can talk it better. But when you just say it you just say it to anybody, they might say it, and that hurts you the more. Okay. But finding somebody you can discuss with.
Okay, I'll get back to you on that. But then, how about bringing these people to justice? You know, reporting to the police and taking them up. Isn't it another way out to reduce this trend?
Well, one of the things that we need to know about that is evidence. There is nothing the police can do without evidence. And I'm happy now that the Nigerian police, they have come up so well on forensic. Yes. Because one of the evidence that you need for a rape case is forensic. You know, maybe there was a struggle, okay? You could see that the fingers of the lady could have taken some dead skin from the guy, okay? Maybe there was blood. Maybe there was semen exchange. You know, there is so much evidence from the crime scene. And you will be shocked that even proper assessment of a crime scene, you could get a string of hair from the person on the crime scene. That's why we always employ people. Don't abuse a crime scene because there's so much that can be gotten. And the timeliness, because some things go time bad. Like she said, she waited for some time because she has decided not to report it. But if she needed to report it, it needed to be reported timeliness. Timeliness is necessary for the forensic people to be able to get reasonable evidence that can help. Another thing that you also see there is culpability. Okay? Like she went to the guy's place. She didn't see him in class. She went there, she went upstairs to the place alone. Now, is that a crime to go to his place alone? In Africa here, you will be shocked that people will first ask you, why will you go to his house alone Are you the lesson teacher? That would be the question. Instead of them to start saying, why did you assault her? The question will now be, why did you go to his house? So you didn't see any of your friend used to eat your body. And I will be so shocked. I will be like, the crime was the assault. Now she going to her place alone. Check her age. She's naive. So naivety is not a crime. But that is another area. I like this program because it's not so late in the night. I'm sure so many young people are watching it right now. Okay, so many information are going out right now, and so many people are talking to schools, because where it begins to happen is during those areas of secondary school where the boy and the girl begins to get into maturity. You will now see the boys want to become adventurous. They want to try what they watch on TV and all of that. It happened to all of us growing up, but there's a stage you get to in as a man. You begin to draw the line from being a criminal or actually professing love. So once you could draw the line, then you are sure that you are not among those that we are watching out for. So the police can prosecute right now if you allow them access to forensic evidence, okay. Especially.
Why didn't you go to the police? Was it because you were young or the fear?
No, I couldn't go to the police because at that time, while growing up, there was no, how do I put it? No social media, no support. If I had reported to I remember discussing this with my mom recently, like let me say 2-3 years ago. My mother was like, hey, the hair self, if I had had that aid that time, maybe I wouldn't have been able to do anything. So I was like, yes, I went through this. My mother was in tears. She couldn't hold it. She was crying and everything. And so talking to her then, being a strict woman, disciplinarian, under my roof, you know that kind of feeling. I couldn't tell anybody. And when you go to the police as a small girl, some police at that time might even rape you. Further, to even strengthen your case, they might want to test run on you again. So the best thing was to just keep quiet about it. I just knew that, okay, maybe it's the work of the devil. Maybe I even blamed myself. Why did I go there? Why did I even say, let me go and visit him? You understand? Because that's the next thing I'll hear from any other person. So going to the police was not on didn't come to my mind then. But presently, I'm very sure that police, they are really ready for rape victims.
Yeah.
Okay, but most times, like you said earlier on, a lot of people blame the victims. A lot of people put it at the doorstep of the victims. Why did you go there? Why did you? Should it all be about what she's wearing or where she was found at a party and all of that?
What you wear has been a major concern in the world, but in Africa, what you wear is a problem. Because if you go to foreign countries when there's summer, most people just put a bra and put a bum short and they are going to a supermarket and all of that. You are expected to control your relationship, your attachment, your mindset. Okay, so but here, when a girl dresses skimpy and she's exposing a lot of skins, immediately people accuse her of seducing others. So your dressing should be able to define where you are. Let's put it this way. You are going to church, you are going to the mosque, you are going to a supermarket in the evening, okay? You are going to an office. There should be things that you should wear. It depends on where you are going to. Okay, if I just come back from work now and I say, okay, let's go to the beach. And from there, somebody say, Roy, please, there's a meeting somewhere. And I'm going with my family. Definitely, that meeting cannot hold. Why? Our dressing does not comport with the purpose of the meeting. So you should dress to wherever you are going to. And if anybody feels insulted, like some corporate organizations, you could wear a miniskirt, especially if you are a marketer. Okay? There are corporate organizations that your skirt must be at your knee level. whether you're a marketer or not. Okay, so there are organizations that are like fashion houses, showgrounds. You know, your dressing should comport. So your dressing should not make anybody to rape you.
Exactly.
No, I'm coming to that. We must first of all address the dressing, because we can't just jump that. People must dress to where they are going to. Now, if I get to a church and somebody sitting next to me is dressed seductively, I have options. If she's distracting me, I can change my seat. That's number one. Number two, I get to a friend's house, he's not around, I see his daughter or his wife or his sister, and she's dressed seductively, and I'm attracted to it, I should leave.
Okay, let me
You should leave that environment if you cannot control yourself. Okay. That is the only option.
Let me quickly take this comment from Facebook. Malam Yemisaka says, I don't buy the agreement of what you wear. Why was rape not an in thing when our forefathers were almost naked? Mora, please, advanced sentiments of blaming victim. What do you think about that? Should your dressing, you know, I also...
Dressing should not define what you want to do. Your value system. You consider your value system.
Yeah.
What do I believe? What are the things that I work with? What are those things that guide my actions? That should be the thing you need to work on, not somebody else's dressing. If I like, I open my laps. The thing is, if you see a masquerade, if you see a mad person naked, if your normal sense will not approach a mad woman that is naked, why should you get attracted to and have dressed decently going on our way woman? So we should just be able to define that it has to do with our mind.
Sure.
With our value system. We will need to work on our mind, on our value system.
Okay, I just also want to let you, as a security person, how can people protect themselves? There's also the issue of, okay, guys also get raped. So how can you protect yourself?
Yeah, sure. You know, but we have cleared the other angle about dressing. Okay? If you cannot take it as a guy, as a man, walk away. It's even better to walk away than to criticize. Why are you dressed like this? Because when you are criticizing, you are already assessing it. Why are you dressed like this? How can you wear this kind of... Just walk away if you can't. Okay? Then for the ladies too, dress according to the situation on ground. Especially if you are alone with a man. Don't say he's supposed to behave himself. Dress accordingly. That is for that. Now let's look at protection. There are unarmed combat skills that women can take to. Okay, there are unarmed combat skills that women can take to, which we can't address here, okay, because it's a physical drill. There are areas on parts of the body of a man that you can strike and can help you get away. And there are parts of your body that are weapons, your dressing, like your shoes. You have your high heel, the pointer on the high heel. People like to hit the head of somebody. No, that pointer on your high heel should be directed to the nose. You know, so those kind of area will be very fertile to give you room to escape. Because whatever you want to do, it's not to actually run the guy down. It's to give you room to escape. And you have to be sure. That's why I'm saying it's not what you just give on TV. Because if you try any of your combat skills and you cannot bring the man down to the extent where you can escape, then you have made him more violent. Because if he's coming back to you, he's now coming, okay, you want it like this now, you know. Then there are other devices like a stun gun. Some ladies put it in their bag. Some of them too can be like, no, in fact, let's leave it to where we are training the ladies, okay? So that the men will now just come now and start looking for those kind of things. We have electronic devices. We have electronic security engineers that we can call to say, okay, introduce these devices to this set of ladies. Maybe when they come through you, okay? Then another thing is the attitude to escape. Now, if you are escaping, you are supposed to raise alarm. Because if you are hiding, you are not supposed to raise alarm. Maybe you know the terrain, so you want to run somewhere and hide. that is better for you if you can. The other one is when you know you don't know the terrain, you are in a strange place and you are running, please raise your voice. Raise your voice, start crying for help, because somebody somewhere will immediately hear it and run to assist. But if you are just running like that and the guy is running after you, people will not even understand what is going on. Okay? Then you could also lock in. You could get into any concealed place and lock yourself in, that there is a boat. If it's a house, you can get into the restroom. You are sure you can lock yourself in. Run in with your phone. Lock yourself in. You can start making calls, because definitely maybe he could get the door down. So there are so many
112. Lagos State has this number,
emergency numbers, and it works.
Yes.
767-112 works like magic.
And there's also domestic and sexual violence response team there at Alausa Ikeja, provided by the Lagos State government.
Yeah.
You can approach them, and of course you get the needed help, you know, that you want over there. Thank you so much for coming on to the show
Thank
today.
you
Thank
very
you for
much.
being a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's the program today. We thank you for being a part of it. It's just the beginning. Let us work together to make our environment, our society safe for everyone to live in. Thank you so much. I am Adetola Kayode. Next week we'll be here. Thank you.